Hello, today we're going to talk about something that's extremely important. It's water conservation while we hygienically wash our hands according to the standards of the CDC. Now there's a number of people that have put out videos about sanitary hand washing, but doggone it, they all focus on the hygiene aspect and throw conservation out the door. And at the end of this video, look what I attached to show you an example of blatant, extreme waste of water during the hand washing process. I'm here today to tell you that we can do both. We can wash to every bit of the high standard that the CDC recommends while using a tiny fraction of the water, not only of what's used in that wasteful video, but in what you use every day. People across America. This is kind of radical, it's kind of extreme, but it's very, very realistic. So watch this. It's not about how long the water's running, it's about when the water's running, and then it's about how it's delivered. So when means you run the water while you're getting your hands in the soap wet, and then you shut it off. Then when the washing is done and it's time to rinse, then you turn the water back on. And my assumption is that once your hands are thoroughly, completely rinsed and there's no more soap film on them at all, that everyone's going to turn the water off at that point. So again, it's not how long is the water running, it's just running until you're finished rinsing. It's when the water's running. And as far as delivery goes, are you just going to have a full, wide open flow coming out of your faucet? Or are you going to narrow that down into a spray and maybe even down into a mist? Because the finer your spray, as you're going to see today, the less water that you'll use. And I'm talking about a finer spray than what anybody's normal faucet can deliver. So watch this. Take the soap here, I'm going to get my hands wet and the soap wet. You can see lots of soap on there. Now the CDC recommends that I wash my hands for 20 seconds. And they mention, going between the fingers, getting the fingernails for each hand, doing each finger. There's a lot of things we can do, but really, since the water's not running, I'm not here today to really talk about the hand washing. I just want you to see that I got a lot of soap, ivory soap on my hands. Okay, now we're going to rinse them off. There, that does it. Okay, I feel no more soap at all. So now comes the fun part when I get to show you just how much water I used in that process. Ready? Sure? Okay, let's take a look. There it is. That was a very, very thorough washing with lots of soap and a very thorough, complete rinsing. Now, granted, there's a little water still on my hands, so we could have maybe put a couple more drops in there. But basically, that's it, folks, right there. You're talking about 6 ounces of water, somewhere in that area. Let's call it 8. If it's 8, that's a 1/16 of a gallon, but it's less. A 1/16 of a gallon for each hand washing. Think about that. California, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Wyoming, Colorado, Texas. Water is a critical issue in a number of states, and it should be important to everybody because it affects us all, whether it be in food prices and different things. We're supposed to wash our hands for several different reasons, multiple times every day. Are you going to continue to use a gallon or more every time you wash your hands, or are you going to go down to about 1/16 of a gallon when you wash your hands? The decision's yours. Now at the end of this segment of the video here, you're going to see somebody else washing their hands where they had the water running the entire time, and it's just shocking to see how much water they wasted. Subscribe to my channel and definitely share this because I think the whole world needs to see this, especially the people in the United States, especially the people in those states that are water challenged and in a water crisis right now. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Samantha Hill. I'm cardiac surgeon in downtown Toronto, and I'm president-elect of the Ontario Medical Association. The optimum time for hand washing is at least 20 seconds. The first thing that you want to do when you're washing your hands is use your hands to turn on the faucet. It's important to remember that you've now used dirty hands to turn on the faucet. You're going to wet your hands, and then you're going to reach over and grab some soap. And your soap should be enough to cover the surfaces of both hands. The temperature of the water should be warm, not too hot, not too cold, something comfortable for you. You then take that amount of soap and you put your fingers in it on both sides. You then use the fronts of both hands and you rub palm against palm, either in a circular motion or in a back and forth motion. What's important to remember here while you're doing this is that you want to get in between each of your fingers. This motion is a good motion to do them all at the same time, and then you want to do the other side. Having done this, you then turn your hand over and you do the back of one hand. Again, circular motions over the flat part of your hand, up and down a little bit to get the fingers, and then in between each of the surfaces, not forgetting your thumb and the space in between it. And then you do your other hand, same concept. You just rub slowly, nice circles over the palm of your hand, back and forth to get the back of the fingers, and then in between each of the fingers like this. At this point, you're almost done. You're going to want to go around each of your fingers individually to make sure you've gotten all of the surfaces of the fingers, and then you're all done. You're going to rinse your hands under that warm water. Make sure you get all the soap off because it can be quite abrasive if you leave it on. Use a paper towel to dry your hands. Make sure your hands are nice and dry, and then use that same paper towel to turn off the faucet.